blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy, never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mountain fixed upon it, mount of thy unchanging love. Well, here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I come, and I know by thy good pleasure safely to the private home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. He to rescue me from danger interposed his precious blood. Oh, to grace no greater debtor, daily I'm constrained to thee. Let that grace now like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy, never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mountain fixed upon it, mount of thy unchanging love.
Thank you to my wonderful husband, Marcus Mumford, for that beautiful rendition of Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Good evening and welcome to Alzheimer Society's annual Carols at Christmas celebration. My name is Carey Mulligan and I am proud to be an Alzheimer Society ambassador and your host for this evening. After the events of this year, it is more special than ever to be with you all tonight. Thank you for joining me and for your continued support of Alzheimer Society. There are thousands of you joining us tonight, so make sure you sing loud and we can create a chorus of voices across the UK. I also want to say a special hello to all the care homes watching together tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'd also like to thank our headline sponsor, One Stop. Without their support and the support of our other sponsors, this evening would not be possible. For all of those who signed up on the website, you will have received a digital programme, so you can follow along with the readings and carols. You can also view the programme using the link below this video. And for those of you unable to join us for the whole hour, we will be making this evening's concert available on the Alzheimer Society YouTube account in the coming days. This year has been incredibly challenging for all of us. but it has been people living with dementia, their carers and loved ones who have been hit the hardest. A quarter of all deaths from COVID-19 have been people with dementia, and on top of that, many have died before their time due to drastic changes to routines and a steep increase in depression and loneliness. It is clear that this pandemic will have far-reaching and long-lasting effects for everyone affected by dementia. I know that many of you listening tonight will have felt firsthand this additional heartbreak, pain and anxiety that the pandemic has brought. So it is even more important that we band together at this special time of year, send our love in whatever way we can, and support those who may be at their most lonely and isolated. This year, Carols at Christmas does look a little bit different, but taking our event virtually, I am delighted that we're able to unite in song and maybe even raise a glass or two together. There are lots of ways you can get involved. We know that a lot of families can't be together in person this year, but many of you are still connecting with loved ones across the country and watching tonight's performances together virtually. You can leave a message for loved ones on screen by emailing your message to carols@alzheimers.org.uk. Many of you will be missing people who are no longer with us, so please do also leave a message in memory of a loved one on our virtual Christmas tree. We're also holding a prize draw tonight. You could win an array of prizes, including a personalised message from Formula One legend Jenson Button or a signed Friends t-shirt from David Schwimmer. Make sure you get your tickets before the website closes at 7:10 p.m. And most importantly, please consider making a gift to everyone affected by dementia by donating to Alzheimer Society during tonight's concert. Donations can be made via text or on the Carols at Christmas webpage, and any donations you make tonight will help to create a better world for people affected by dementia and will support them to overcome the huge new challenges that have arisen in 2020. We'll be announcing the total amount raised at the end of the evening, so stay tuned. I'm excited to be joined by some very special guests this evening, many of whom I'm sure you will recognise, and I'm delighted to introduce you to the Holy Trinity Brompton Chamber Choir, who will be singing some of our festive favourites over the next hour. Tonight you will have the opportunity to vote for our closing carol. The vote should now be on your screen and will be available until the vote closes at 7 p.m. You have a choice of Hark the Herald or God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Once you've made your selection, you can minimise the vote box at the top left corner of the voting box. Thank you for being with us this evening, and I hope you will join me in singing our first carol, O Come All Ye Faithful.
I never felt fear like it in all my life. I'd lost my job, lost my driving licence, lost my independence. I didn't think it was possible to feel that low, to think that my life was over.
We didn't understand what was wrong with Mum.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it meant. I was scared because I didn't know if I was losing my mother.
I suppose everybody always says the same, why me? Why my mum? Why our family?
The impact of social isolation following the diagnosis is great, but during this pandemic, it's been absolutely worse.
I tell Mum there's a cold outside and it's a nasty cold, and we have to look after Mum and her friends, and we have to look after her, Brian. And until the nasty cold has disappeared, then we can't see her.
She doesn't quite understand sometimes how dangerous it is to go out.
I've not been able to see my family, I've not been able to see my friends, I've not been able to meet up with my peers.
It's very upsetting not being able to hold her, to hug her.
She's struggling with it, and we just don't know how to help her.
This year, the Alzheimer Society have been my rock. There's somebody you can turn to, and there's somebody who you know will be there for you unconditionally every day of the week, every hour of the day.
During the pandemic, it's been so helpful, knowing that I'm not alone going through this. There's so many more people going through it as well.
I wouldn't know where to start to be able to thank you for that support that you give us.
But yeah, the Alzheimer Society has been a godsend.
The Alzheimer's Society means to me there is a lighthouse out there in the darkness that is dementia, shining to lead the way, give us hope in the hopelessness that is dementia. It means that I'm not alone.
Anybody who has donated, I personally say a huge, massive, from the bottom of my heart and more, thank you so much.
There's not much more I can say, it's just thank you.
Together we can get through this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am sure that you are as moved as I am to hear these first-hand accounts. Unless you've experienced it yourself, it's hard to comprehend how devastating a dementia diagnosis is, let alone the additional heartbreak that this year has caused. So many families here tonight will have been touched by dementia in some way. My own grandmother, Nance, lived with Alzheimer's disease for 15 years. She was an amazing woman, and even though Alzheimer's slowly took her from us across that long period of time, she was still Nance, and there was much more to her than her dementia diagnosis. Nance passed away in 2018, but I still remember fondly the times when we played music for her and she would tap her hand in perfect time. Nance is the reason why I support Alzheimer's Society and will continue to work hard to ensure that everyone living with dementia now and in the future gets the support they need to live life to the full. I'm so grateful that you're all here with me tonight, and I encourage you to support in whatever way you can. Every donation made or prize draw ticket bought this evening will make sure that people affected by dementia have access to lifeline support over the coming months. We're about to be joined by a very special guest, but first I would like to remind you to take part in tonight's prize draw. We have some amazing prizes up for grabs. Now I'm delighted to introduce you to the wonderful Jonathan Price, CBE.
A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement Clark Moore. It was the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetops the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Water like a star. for him whom angels fall down before, the ox and ass and camel which adore. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart.
I hope you enjoyed that beautiful rendition of In the Bleak Midwinter, and thank you also to Jonathan for his wonderful performance. The vote for our last carol will close in the next couple of minutes, so please make sure that you cast your votes and let us know whether you want to hear Hark the Herald or God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. It's lovely to see that a lot of you have been sharing your memories as baubles on our virtual Christmas tree. We're going to share some of those with you now, so keep an eye out and see if your message appears. Thank you to everyone who has shared a message or a dedication so far. Please do add your bauble to the tree as the evening continues, or send in your shout-outs to carols@alzheimers.org.uk. Christmas can be a lonely time for some, especially for people affected by dementia who are particularly at risk of social isolation. Please help us to show everyone that although we may be apart, we are still standing beside them this Christmas. Next up, we're going to hear from another very special guest, Sir Trevor MacDonald, OBE, who will be reading Listening to Christmas by Alan Harris.
Have you ever heard snow? Not the howling wind of a blizzard, not the crackling of snow underfoot, but the actual falling of snow. We heard it one night in Wisconsin, quite unexpectedly, while walking up a hill toward our cabin in the woods. A soft whisper between footsteps. We stopped, switched off our flashlights, and just listened. All around us in the darkness, we heard the gentle fall of snow on snow. No wind, no sound, but the snow. Have you ever heard Christmas? Not the traffic noises in the city, not the bells and hymns and carols, beautiful as they are, not even the laughter of your children as they open their presents, but Christmas itself. Have you been by yourself and just sat and listened to the silence within? Perhaps if you have, you felt the pulse of all humanity beating in your own heart. Perhaps you noticed an outflowing of love for all your brothers and sisters on earth, a soft sense of oneness with all that lives. In the silence of a snowy night, listen intently, holding your breath, and you may hear snow on snow. Serene, alone, undisturbed by thought. Listen to the silence in your heart, and you may hear Christmas. Wishing you all of you, a very Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for supporting Alzheimer's Society.
Thank you, Sir Trevor, for that wonderful poem. It is now my pleasure to introduce Paul Harvey, a composer and teacher who was diagnosed with dementia last year. After being given 4 notes to play by his son Nick, Paul improvised a composition and a clip of this went viral. The video is intended to show how musical ability can survive memory loss. Since then, Paul has debuted his charity single with the BBC Philharmonic. Paul's story really does show us that even as dementia progresses, music can still bring moments of togetherness and joy. Paul is a wonderful pianist, and we are delighted that tonight he will be performing his own arrangement of Silent Night.
Hello, this is my arrangement of A Christmas Carol that I think you might all know. Happy Christmas.
Thank you so much to Paul for joining us tonight. I was absolutely blown away by your performance, as I have been by your story. For those of you that haven't heard, Paul's charity single with the BBC Philharmonic raised over £1 million for Alzheimer's Society and Music for Dementia. I hope that, like me, you are all singing together from your homes, and we are creating a chorus of voices across the UK and the world tonight in support of everyone affected by dementia. We're so delighted that we are joined by viewers from overseas tonight. The voting is now closed for our last carol of the night, and the chosen song will be revealed at the end of the concert. Before we move on to our next carol, I'd like to take this time to remind everyone of how incredibly important your support is for people like Tommy, Jules and Bethany, who appeared in our video earlier tonight, as well as millions of others affected by dementia across the UK. Thank you to those of you who have already donated. Each and every one of you is letting people affected by dementia know that they aren't alone this Christmas. Now I would like to introduce our next carol, O Holy Night.
O holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, O hear the angel voices, O light divine, O night when Christ was born,
I'm delighted to introduce Leslie Manville, OBE, who will be reading a poem by Alfie Benson. Alfie wrote this poem about his grandmother's experience with dementia.
All I Ask by Alfie Benson. I've learned so much throughout my life, but there's so much I don't recall. I know it's in there somewhere, but it's hard to find it all. It's not that I've forgotten you or the things I said I'd do. I remember everything, but it's hidden somewhere I can't see, just beyond my view. You see, there is a shadow where there didn't used to be. And sometimes when I look right there, it just confuses me. My mind has ways of taking me where I don't want to go. I know your name and face, you see. Just right now, it's hard for me to think of things I really know and to know what really is and what may not be so. Though I may forget you, it's important that you see just how much it means to me that you remember me. Here's an introduction by Alfie Benson. My connection to dementia is through my nan. I've watched my nan deteriorate through the stages over the last 12 years. Sometimes she's her 12-year-old self. Sometimes she can be aggressive. Sometimes she's quiet. And sometimes there is just a little bit that comes back that is the nan I remember from when I was really little. The most important thing I always remember is that she's still my nan, and I will always love her and look after her, even if one day she can no longer remember me. I know it's still in there somewhere. Also, you probably figured out, but she's in care and has been for about 10 years. That's made lockdown tricky for us, as it has been for everyone. But the home have been great, and we've done lots of video calls with her.
A big thank you to our very special guest, Leslie Manville, OBE, for joining us tonight and reciting such a lovely poem, All I Ask by Alfie Benson. Although the prize draw is closed, you can still make a dedication and leave messages on our virtual Christmas tree, or make a donation to help people manage what next year has in store. You can do this in a variety of ways, details of which are being shown on your screens now. I cannot express how amazing it is to see so many people coming together tonight to show anyone affected by dementia that they are not alone. Every year, Alzheimer Society's Dementia Connect support line sees a spike in the number of calls during the festive period, but this loneliness will be even more profound now that we are more isolated than ever. Thank you for helping us to change that. Next up, leading us in another festive favourite, Scouting for Girls will be performing Last Christmas.
Hello, I'm Roy.
I'm Pete. And I'm Greg.
And we are Scouting for Girls. How are you all doing? We hope you are having a lovely night. A big happy Christmas from us. And we want to say thank you for supporting the Alzheimer Society and Carols at Christmas. We hope you're having a wonderful night. We're going to try not to ruin it with our version of this song, Last Christmas. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you gave it away. Please sing to 17s. I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you gave it away. Please sing to 17s. I'll give it to someone special. Friends with tired eyes, I'm hiding from you in your soul of ice. My God, I thought you were someone to rely on. I guess I was a shoulder to cry on, a face on a lover and fire in his heart. Then I discovered what you told me apart. Oh, now I found you love. And now I know you never fool me again. Last Christmas, gave you my heart, but the very next day, gave it away. Asking to save it for tears, I give it to someone special. Last Christmas, gave you my heart, the very next day, gave it away. I'll give it to someone special. Happy Christmas, everybody. We've been Scotland. We hope you have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you in 2021. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, gave it away. Please sing to 17s. I give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, gave it away. Please sing to 17s. I give it to someone special. Happy Christmas!
Good evening. There are very few advantages of the fact that we are not all together in a room, but one is certainly that you just couldn't hear me belting out Last Christmas and wrecking a fantastic performance by Scouting for Girls. So count yourself lucky. We should be grateful for small mercies. My name's Kate Lee and I'm Chief Exec of Alzheimer Society, and I want to take a moment tonight to just say a huge thank you for joining us and for your wonderful donations and support. It is very strange to not be together in a beautiful setting, but better this than not being together at all. I'd like to say a big hello and welcome to care homes across the UK. I know this is a very special night of the year when you come together often to watch and to celebrate and to sing. We want to say hello to you. You have had a tough year too, and you have done the most phenomenal job. So thank you on behalf of the whole of Alzheimer's Society for everything you have been up to. I want to thank One Stop for your fantastic sponsorship of tonight's event. We couldn't have done it without you, but also to Ian for your associate sponsorship. You've really made this possible, as has the fantastic Kerry Mulligan. Thank you, Kerry, for your brilliant hosting of tonight's event. How strange that we're all doing this from our lounges, our bedrooms, our kitchen tables, under the stairs, wherever it is you're sitting and watching tonight. Due to the circumstances, because my goodness, what a terrible and tough year it's been. Sadly, people living with dementia across the UK really have been hardest hit. Sadly, we know that 1 in 4 deaths of coronavirus have been those living with dementia. And we also know carers, particularly for those people living independently at home, have really taken the burden of the pain and anguish and isolation that coronavirus has brought with it. I've been so proud of the team at Alzheimer's Society. Our volunteers and staff have rallied round. We've changed the way we delivered our services. Since March 23rd, we've delivered more than 3 million individual interactions of help and support. We have lobbied government for changes in care home guidance to make sure that people with dementia were treated fairly and well throughout this period. And we have been incredibly busy, and the team have done it superbly. So I would like to thank all of them too. But it goes without question that my biggest thanks of the night are to you, our wonderful donors, supporters, fundraisers. You have been immense. We could not have achieved anything this year without you. Your kind support, particularly around our emergency appeal, has meant that we've been able to just put the thoughts about our money aside for a short moment and really focus on getting our impact out. We could not have done that. We have been in survival mode all year, but we have felt every step of the way. You have been with us, supporting us and willing us on. So thank you so much for your fabulous, wonderful guidance, advice and support. And it just remains for me to introduce our next act this evening, which is the House Gospel Choir performing Gabriel. Thank you.
An archangel of love. He had good news for those dedicating their lives to the Spirit, Spirit, Spirit. One love was the focus of the true message. Everybody felt the tension. Time was fading. Every girl playing. Every girl Just release yourself to the love that's holding you.
Thank you to Kate Lee for her moving Christmas message, and also the House Gospel Choir for that beautiful rendition of Gabriel. Along with thanking each of our special guests, I would also like to thank each and every person who has joined in, bought prize draw tickets, donated, written on our virtual Christmas tree and sung their hearts out to Christmas classics. I hope you're all ready to hear who the lucky winners of tonight's prize draw are. We've had a flurry of people purchasing tickets, but now I get the exciting job of announcing the winners. Their names will be appearing on your screens now. Their names will be appearing on your screens now. A big congratulations to our lucky winners, and thank you so much to everyone who entered the prize draw, and of course to each of you that have donated throughout the evening. We'll be announcing the total amount raised from this evening's festivities in just a minute. We're almost at the end of our time together, but I would just like to say how honoured I am to have hosted tonight's concert alongside such wonderful guests. Just knowing that everyone listening and taking part is coming together for such a brilliant and worthwhile cause makes me feel so proud to be an Alzheimer's Society ambassador. Carols at Christmas may have looked different this year, but it has been just as special in so many ways and shown us that even though we are apart right now, that won't stop us from banding together as a community and supporting those who need it most. Every donation received tonight will power the fight against dementia, funding campaigns to change government policy, pioneering new research in pursuit of a cure, and supporting people affected by dementia in their daily lives. By making all of this possible, you are providing a vital safety net for everyone experiencing heartbreaking new challenges because of coronavirus. You are making an amazing difference. And just to show you how incredible you all are, it's now time to reveal how much you have raised so far. I am so pleased to announce we have raised absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for giving it your all and making Carols at Christmas a success again this year. It's wonderful to see that even though we couldn't be together for this year's celebrations, we've certainly brought some Christmas cheer into living rooms across the country. You've all been brilliant tonight, and I cannot express enough the difference that you are making to so many people affected by dementia this year and in the uncertain months and years to come. If you would still like to add to our Christmas tree or make a donation, the pages will be open until the end of December. I am delighted to have been your host this evening. To send us off, the Holy Trinity Brompton Chamber Choir performing your chosen final carol. Have a lovely evening, and I wish you and your families a wonderful Christmas.